Okay, so did you work on these before you found this answer key video? I hope so. Let's take a look at problem number 1. So the directions are to factor. What's our typical first question? Is it in descending order? What's the next question? Anything to factor out? Anything in common? Nope. Okay, and now I'm noticing there's 2 terms. And I'm noticing because the first term has an x cubed that more than likely these are perfect cubes. So check it out. Is 8 a perfect cube? Yes, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, right? Okay. X is obviously a perfect cube. 3 x's, and I'm going to write the x's next to the 2's because the 8 is next to the 2. All right? Or pardon me, the 8 is next to the x cubed, so I'm going to write the x's next to the 2's. Cool? All right. 27, perfect cubed? Yeah, we spoke about that one. That's 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so remember, when you factor cubes, perfect cubes, how many parentheses do you write down to start with? You write 2 down. Do you remember what I called the first parenthesis? The cubed root. Do you remember what I called the second parenthesis? The leftover. All right, so let's talk. So what's the cubed root of 8x to the power of 3? 2x. So I used one of those 2x's. How many do I have left over? I've got 2 of them left over. Good? All right. Look at the 27. What's the cubed root of 27? 3. So I used one of those 3's. How many do I have left over? I have 2 of them left over. Good. Now, this leftover parenthesis, how many terms is supposed to be in it? 3. Remember, this one is a trinomial. It's missing the middle term, isn't it? So how do I get the middle term? Look at the cubed root. Take the first and the second, right? There's only 2 terms. Take the 2x and the 3. Multiply them together. What do you get? 6x. There's your middle term. Cool? Excellent. And last but not least, yeah, you need signs. Okay, so remember my little knocked out face? 2 additions, 1 subtraction. All right. Since this original problem has a minus sign, the first parenthesis has a minus sign, which means you only have 2 addition signs left, and there's only 2 places to put them. So that's good. You don't have to question it. Cool? All right. So let's clean these parentheses up. Let's see what they look like. The cubed root parenthesis is 2x minus 3. The leftover parenthesis, that says 2x. The whole thing is squared. And if you need to write it out, what's 2x times 2x? 4x squared. Excellent. Plus 6x plus 9. Wonderful. Oh, that trinomial's got a square. Factor it. Will it factor? No, it won't. We've already spoken about this. This needs to be a 12 if it was going to factor correctly. This is always half as much what you need. Okay? Try it on your own. Okay? Don't take my word for it. Try it on your own. But I guarantee you this isn't going to factor. So here is the factored form of that perfect square cubed binomial. Boy, that was a mouthful. All right, number 2. Did you try it yet? Pause the video, try it. Okay, I'm assuming you tried it, so here we go. First things first. Yes, descending order. Secondly, nothing in common. Now, parentheses, or pardon me. Now I'm noticing that r to the third is a perfect cubed, which means I'm hoping 64 and 125 are both perfect cubes also. Well, check it out. Clearly, that's r times r times r. Is 64 a perfect cube? It is. It's 4 times 4 times 4. And I'm going to put the 3 r's next to each 4 because the 64 is next to the r to the third. Good? 125, is it a perfect cube? Yeah. You're like, well, let me try 5 because it ends in a 5. You're right. 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? All right. So everything in this binomial is a perfect cube. That makes our life so much easier. All right. Now what? Good. 2 parentheses. First parenthesis is called cubed root. Second parenthesis is called the leftover. Oh yeah, it's also a trinomial, isn't it? Got it. Hey, we might as well get it all written down while we're working on it. So, cubed root of 64r to the third, 4r. I used one of them. How many are left over? 2. Cubed root of 125, 5. I used one of them. How many are left over? 2. But you told me this is supposed to be a trinomial. So how do I get this guy in the middle? Good. Look at the cubed root, parenthesis. Take the 4r and the 5, multiply them together. What do you get? 20r. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Now what? Signs. You're always looking for a home for 2 addition and 1 subtraction. So what goes in the first parenthesis? Yeah, the minus sign, right? So what's left? 2 additions. Okay, let's clean this up. What's the cubed root parenthesis look like? 4r minus 5. What's the leftover look like? Well, I have 4r squared. And if you need to write that out twice, then write it out twice because it's easier to see the 16r squared than to like rack your brain about it. Plus 20r plus 25. Great. Does this trinomial factor? Nope, never will. That number should have been 40. Good. Excellent. How are we doing? So far, so good? Okay. I've got a couple more coming your way. Hopefully you've already tried them. Hang in there. Okay. Did you try these 2 before you kept moving forward with the video answer key? All right, let's do this. Number 3. First things first. Good. Descending order. Second, nothing that's in common to factor out. Third, are they perfect squares or are they perfect cubes? Because when you have a binomial, you could have squares or cubes. So let's check it out. Number 3, x to the 6th. To be honest with you, that could go either way. That could be a perfect square or a perfect cube. The 8's the giveaway. 8 is definitely not a perfect square, is it? But it is a perfect cube. So what about x to the 6th, though? Is that a perfect cube? Well, let me sidetrack a second. Make sure we understand. That means there are 6 x's, right? And if it's going to be a perfect cube, that means there's 3 only, right? Groups of 3, yes? So if I split this into 3 equal groups, because I'm thinking it's a cube, that means I'm going to have x squared times x squared times x squared. So it is a perfect cube. And the cubed root of x to the 6th is x squared. And the cubed root of 8 is 2. Good? Does that make sense? Yeah, when you have these variables with these types of powers, oddball powers that are not obvious to you, write them out. And then if you're thinking it's a perfect cube, divide it, so to speak, into 3 equal groups. Good? All right. Perfect cube. Here we go. What do you want me to write first? Want me to write 2 parentheses. What's the first parenthesis called? Cube root. Got it. What's the second one called? Leftover. Excellent. Now what? Yeah. Cubed root of x to the 6th is x squared. I used one of them. How many do I have left over? I have 2 of them left over. Cubed root of 8, 2. I used one of them. How many do I have left over? 2 left over. Wonderful. Now I need this middle term because remember, this is a trinomial, isn't it? Okay, so look at the cubed root. Take x squared times the 2. That's 2x squared. There is the third term or the middle term in the trinomial. Now, signs. Okay. Yep, good. You wrote your little knockout face? So did I. What are you going to put in the cubed root? Minus, because it starts with a minus, which leaves me 2 addition signs left. Yes? Getting the hang of this? Yay! Okay, clean up the parentheses. X squared minus 2 in the cubed root in the leftover. You have x squared times x squared. X to the 4th. Plus 2x squared plus 4. Good. Here is the factored form. Because does the trinomial factor? It does not. We're getting the hang of that, and that saves us some time, which we're happy about, right? It saves us a little bit of work. All right, number 4. Did you figure out? Because it's in descending order, nothing's in common. Did you figure out if you're dealing with squares or cubes? We're like the 27's a cube. You're right, the 27 is definitely a cube. We've worked with that number already. Talk to me about the m. How many do you have? You've got 9 of them. I'm going to write them all out, so bear with me just a moment. And if it's a cube, you need to break them into 3 equal groups. So each group is going to have 3 m's. So I guess m to the 9th is a perfect cube. And then I've got 3 3's, don't I? Okay, what do you want me to do first? Write 2 parentheses. What's the first one called? Cube root. What's the second one called? Leftover. Good. Oh yeah, the leftovers are trinomial. Very good. All right, let's talk. What's the cubed root of m to the 9th? M to the 3rd. You used 1. You have 2 left over. Cubed root of 27 is 3. You used 1. You've got 2 left over. And now, the middle. In the cubed root, what do you have? M to the 3rd. You're going to multiply by 3. That gives you 3m to the 3rd. How we doing? Are you agreeing? Good. Signs are last. Always last. 2 addition, 1 subtraction. Yep, fill this in with subtraction because the problem had subtraction. 2 additions left. Okay, m to the 3rd minus 3. You're squaring this. Yeah, you technically have 6 m's left over, so m to the 6th. Plus 3m cubed plus 9. Excellent. Well done. Getting the hang of factoring cubes? Okay, 2 more examples. If you have not done them yet, pause the video, do them, and I'll be right back. Okay, last 2. Did you try them? Excellent. Let's look at number 5. Tell me what you did. Good, you checked if it was in descending order, and it is. Then what? You noticed you could reduce by something, right? You could factor out a number, couldn't you? What did you decide to reduce by? 5? I agree. Both of these will reduce by 5. So we have 5 times 8x to the 3rd plus, what was that? 27. Good. Okay. And now I'm looking at the parentheses. And oh yeah, we've dealt with these numbers before. We know they're perfect cubes, don't we? All right. Now, mind you, even though we know it and we've worked with them often enough, it's not a bad idea to still write it down. Because those of us who are visual, taking the 2 seconds and writing it down actually helps us in the long run. Good? All right. Now what? 2 parentheses. Okay, I'm going to bring the 5 down. I need to remember that 5, so I'm going to keep bringing it down. Gratefully, it's not going to get in the way because I don't have all that work that I had to do with trinomials, right? Okay, good. This one's the cubed root. This one's the leftover. And it's also a trinomial. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so talk to me. Yeah, the cubed root of 8x to the third is 2x. I used one of them. You have 2 left over. Cubed root of 27 is 3. You used one of them. You got 2 left over. Good, 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 good. This is a trinomial. Right. Look at what's in the cubed root. 2x multiplied by 3 gives you 6x. Excellent. Signs are last. You guys are doing great. 2 addition, 1 subtraction. Okay, so this is addition, which means this is going to be addition. Your pirate's back. So, since this is a positive 27, and the 3 is positive, the other 2 3's need to be positive, which means we have a negative sandwich. Cool? Good job, guys. All right, so let's clean this up. The 5 is still there. The cubed root parenthesis looks like 2x plus 3. The leftover, 2x times itself, 4x squared, minus 6x plus 9. We know the trinomial doesn't factor. We're not even going to bother going through it again. Good? With me? Good job, guys. Okay, last one. Let's see what's going on. Tell me what you did. You noticed it was in descending order, nothing to do. Then what? You're like, wait, I could reduce it. I could factor out a number. Tell me what you factored out. You're like, I could take out a 2. I agree. That's a good place to start. And if there's something else we can factor out, we'll see it after we do this. Okay, so the 2 comes out. 8x cubed plus 125. Aha! Can't reduce it any further, but hey, that looks familiar, right? We've dealt with 8 and 125 already. We know they're perfect cubes. As a matter of fact, 8x to the third is 2x times 2x times 2x, and the 125 is 5 times 5 times 5. Good. Excellent. Now what? Parentheses. Okay, got to bring the 2. How many? 2 parentheses. The first one's called the cube root. The second one is called the leftover. I hear you, I hear you. You're saying it's also a trinomial. I got it. I'm with you. Yes? All right. So talk to me. Cubed root of 8x to the third. 2x. I used one of them. 2 are left. Cubed root of 125. 5. I used one of them. I have 2 left. And now, this is a trinomial. So how do I get the guy in the middle? Take the 2x, multiply by the 5, and that gives me 10x. Signs. Good. Last but not least, I'm hearing you guys. You guys are doing great. You're ahead of me. I'm trying to keep up. Hold on. So, this is addition. We put addition. Our little pirate's back. And we have a negative sandwich after that. Let's clean it up. The 2 we factored out in the beginning. The cubed root parenthesis. The leftover parenthesis. Good. 4x squared. And if you need to write it twice, please take that half a second or so and write it twice. Minus 10x plus 25. Well done. I'm excited for you guys. You're doing great. You're like, hey, this isn't so bad. Factoring cubes really isn't. Okay, rewind as you need to. Go look at certain problems that you need to, right? Have fun with this stuff. Catch you on the flip side.